applause and make this happen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Remove your caps. We welcome the girl from the Gridiron Gospel who has stopped by to kick off today's feast with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the feast. Let's have a funky good time. Double 3-2 bass, let's go. Ready? Hot. Hey, let's have a good time today. This is the Friday football. It's the Friday football. Give it to me. It's the feast after a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Minnesota Vikings are staying alive, staying alive. Jared Wells, the technical guidance, ladies and gentlemen, of the Friday football feast. Also, another round of applause applause for the girl from the Gridiron Gospel for the national anthem kicking off the team. It was a beauty. And with GuillotineLeague.com and the co-host of the Friday Football Feast for 11 years, ladies and gentlemen, can I get a witness and a raucous round of applause for PA Charch? Indeed, staying alive, my brother, 6 and 7, got a couple of extra days to recuperate and rehabilitate, and hopefully get out and feeling up and running for the next game a week from Monday at Soldier Field. The Chicago Bears will play us after they play the vaunted green and gold of the Green Bay Packers this weekend. With the Minnesota Vikings for now at 6 and 7, we staying alive and good morning.
Yeah, still in the playoff hunt, and really, actually, the Vikings don't even have to necessarily win out. With this win, there's a way to get into the playoffs, even with one loss the rest of the way, and so it gives a little bit of cushion for this team, and really, they will probably be favored in both of those Bear games. Then they've got to go get wins against a good Rams team and a good Packers team, but they always play the Packers tight. The Rams are not impervious right now, so there's still a lot of reason for optimism. And for as difficult as that second half was, if I had just told any Viking fan before the game, we're going to score 36 points, we're going to win by 8, and Dalvin is going to set his personal high water mark for rushing, everybody would be thrilled. We'll take that in a second.
Right.
And so we're going to step back a little bit, look at the positives that have come out of a win in this game, even if that second half didn't go the way we would have liked.
I'm telling you right now, and when it comes to these National Football League games and injuries, specifically this time of the year, there are players that are nicked up and there are players who are limited at practice. The dichotomy of being limited at practice, when you follow injuries, DNP, did not practice, full participant FP, or limited LP. Limited can mean literally standing off on the side, watching practice, stretching. So that can be limited, okay? And Dalvin was limited this week up to the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, when we come up to these games, you'll read, you'll hear, you'll see player A will work out before the game, and if everything, all the cliche boxes are checked, said player will play. It's not a charade, it's legitimate, but when they're working out before the game, I've found about 70% of the time they don't play. If there's a 50-50 situation with some of these players, 50-50 this stage of the season, 50% I play because my team needs me, 50% I don't play because my body doesn't feel exactly the way I want it to feel, I'm noticing more and more players are tapping out and not playing when it's a 50-50 situation. A week and a half ago in Santa Clara, California, Dalvin Cook left the field on a cart with a shoulder that was dangling down by his knee. And he played last night. That's a tough guy. Can I get a witness? And you know what? And he went for 205 last night. Minnesota Vikings are staying alive. We had night fever at the stadium last night. Charchie, night fever and night sweats. It got so close.
Yeah, the good thing was the Vikings take that early lead, and for a home crowd that could have gone any direction on this. That early lead, I think, really helps cement the home field advantage and keep that crowd behind the team. And it had gone in a different direction with a couple of early scores for the Steelers. I don't know what the home crowd would have done in that scenario. So it was a perfect start for Minnesota. And then I think the defensive adjustments they made in the second half, going to the cover two, blitzing less, and letting Pittsburgh creep their way back in, set a lot of frustration. But nevertheless, Vikings get there in the end, and ultimately they owned the joint, and they weren't able to let a sizable Steelers contingent of fans dominate the tenor of that game.
The Minnesota Vikings indeed staying alive with a victory over the Steelers last evening. Night fever at US Bank Stadium. It was electric. If you went, you know what I'm talking about. And it's jive talking. If you're upset, they came from ahead to win the game. And when I say they came from ahead, they're 29-0 and were sweating at the end of the game. But that's 2021 Minnesota Vikings football. So let's just recognize our identity. Let's be secure with the identity to the best of our abilities, because we got the money last night. We had to get the money. We got the money. And man, that was a fun game last night.
It was fun is one way to put it. It was fun for a while, and we've gone all season on staking a lead like that, and I really thought the Vikings were going to coast. And when it was 29-0, I figured Pittsburgh will come back and give them a couple of scores on long drives where they have to milk the clock and effectively take themselves out of it. I didn't think we'd be in nail-biter territory down the stretch with it coming down to the last play of the game again.
And also Justin Jefferson and Harrison Smith. Just love you inside out. Wonderful players. JJ kicking ass as he want to do. Then from 1:45 to go in the first quarter until the catch in the fourth quarter, they doubled and tripled up on JJ.
Had to.
You got no Adam Thielen, and Harrison Smith blows up something called Freiermuth at the end of the game. Now he has 6 touchdowns, and the Penn State rookie is representing himself nicely. But Harrison Smith with that backside blitz on Ben. I mean, Ben's big and very difficult to topple. To hit him as hard as Harrison hit him and get him down, we got Steelers guy over there, he watches all of the Steelers games, I would imagine. I mean, to knock Ben out of a game on a sack, that's incredibly difficult. The hitman nearly did it. Harry the hitman, Justin Jefferson, just love you inside out.
I'm with you on Harry, and maybe saved the game on the hit on Freiermuth at the end, along with Xavier Woods, who would also make contact with him on a perfectly thrown pass. That last play, that pass from Roethlisberger was exactly the only place it could go between 3 Vikings. Freiermuth got it into his hands, and it got jarred free by Smith and Woods, and it was a game-saving moment for them. Justin Jefferson, I thought Justin Jefferson had a very up and down game. He had the tip ball for the interception. I think the first touchdown was a play he could have made and should have made. The second potential touchdown was a much more difficult one, but one that he could have made as well. And then he also had a drop through the seam in the third quarter. So for me, Jefferson's game was ups and downs. Harrison Smith was electrifying.
And for the final song drop in very covert, non-obvious fashion, for those of you who can tell that I listened to the Bee Gees on my drive over here, what performers for the Minnesota Vikings opening up 29-0? I mean, it was like Nights on Broadway, 6 and 7, and absolutely a chance to make the postseason. So we're staying alive.
Staying alive.
We had Night Fever last night at US Bank Stadium. Jive talking if you're pissed off at any form of win from 5 and 7. Just love you inside out, JJ and Harrison Smith. That's the one I listened to 3 times on the drive here. And what performers our squad last night? Nights on Broadway would have been incredibly impressed. And like you said earlier, we got a chip chair and a chance for the postseason.
How about the jive talking to one Chase Claypool? Who got time? Yeah, he got benched in the first quarter after he got involved in a back and forth with Breland. Breland initiated on the sideline, and it was a classic case of the second guy gets caught. That happened to Claypool, gets benched, and then does one of the dumber things that we've seen in recent history, when at the end of the game, like 12 seconds left, he decided he needed to genuflect and show everybody watching that he made a first down. And he cost his team a good 4 or 5 seconds when they all mattered. And they could have had one more shot at the end zone if Chase Claypool would have just tossed the ball to an official instead of trying to show the world how great he was.
So that victory last night for the Minnesota Vikings did not provide too much heaven, but nevertheless, it beats the alternative and a 5-8 record. Vikings beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we are feasting at Buffalo Wild Wings Lakeville. You're welcome to join. We had a schedule change, a late schedule change. The feast was supposed to be yesterday, but a few weeks ago we changed it to today, day after the game. So stop by Buffalo Wild Wings Lakeville and have a funky good time with the Friday football feast. And make it a trio because on site, Jared Wells guides the football feast. And back at the 651 Carpet Studio, guiding the Great Ship Love Covenant is Brett Blakemore, filling in from Mad Producer. He's at FM 100.3 KFAN. And for Paul Charchi and I'm Paul Allen. On the Timber Tech set list, what's on deck 9 to noon includes game-changing former linebacker Chad Greenway, on air, on site, on demand, and on fire at about 10 o'clock. And to Gabe Henderson from Vikings.com, the Vikings Entertainment Network. The Young G perspective provided at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining us today. When 9 to noon continues, more Vikings conversation with the victory over Pittsburgh. Everybody ready to have a good time today at Buffalo Wild Wings? Because it is the